Hey y'all, Hunter Elliott, rangehot.com. Hope you're doing well. This afternoon I'm finalizing my review of the reintroduced 2020 Wesson Specialist. Before we get started, first thing I want to show you is the detachable 8-round box magazine is out. I have locked the slide to the rear and I've ensured the chamber is empty, so we know this pistol is safe to talk about. However, it is still pointed down range. Specialist was discontinued pre-2019 and then reintroduced in 2020 with some changes. Let's talk about the changes right off the bat and get that out of the way. Probably the first and most noticeable change. Still, it has the integrated accessory rail in the dust cover, but instead of having multiple channels, it has a single channel. Rib on the top of the slide, it is serrated to kind of help keep down any glare from in between the sights. Well, instead of it being an elevated raised rib, the serrations are now actually serrated into the top of the slide. Functionality wise, I doubt it makes any difference. Aesthetically, it may be a little more pleasing. You can also see now that in 2020, the Specialist has forward cocking serrations. The slide stop arm stuck all the way through on this one, and it protrudes from the right side of the arm, did not protrude all the way through the slide, recessed a little bit. And I think that was for if people wanted to install like laser grips or what have you to interrupt that laser. But I like this better because it makes it easier to field strip the pistol. While this pistol is also available in a 5-inch government model, which is this, and a 4 1/4-inch Commander. Initially, it was only offered a 9mm and 45 auto. The 2020 Specialist is going to be offered as well in 10mm auto, and you can get it in stainless steel or this, what they're calling duty finish. So those are about all the changes that I'm aware of on the Specialist. So now we'll talk about the specifications of this test sample. The overall length of this gun is 8 3/4 inches. Barrel length is 5 inches. The height is 5.5 inches. The width is about 1.4 inches, and the weight is 42 ounces empty. The trigger pull broke at a really crisp 4 3/4 pounds with a little bit of take up and just a hint of over travel. The MSRP is $20.49. So it's an expensive pistol. Now, I recognize, y'all, that, you know, the street price is going to be a lot less than that. But also understand when I talk about the MSRP of a Dan Wesson, there's a lot to go behind that. It is a very precision machined pistol, as well as it does have some hand fitting involved. It is a forged receiver and a forged slide, and all the small parts are steel, no mem and cast. When given the option, especially for a pistol that's going to be duty rated, you certainly want to go with steel part. We have shot probably about 500 rounds down range. Didn't experience any kind of malfunctions or misfeeds. Now, Dan Wesson ships it with 2 8-round magazines, in which we used, but I also used a couple traditional Colt 7-round mags, some AC mags. I got a couple Cobra mags here. I got a handful of no-name brand mags. 7 8-rounders. Throughout the review, the pistol really didn't care. Didn't matter which kind of magazine we were using. Didn't have any issues or problems there. Y'all know it's clear. Lower the slide. Set that ambi safety. We do have a very generous, deep beaver tail grip safety, and that's allowing you to get a good solid purchase on the handgun. It is an incorporated palm swell, and that palm swell is going to be a little bit of added insurance. So when you grasp that pistol, it's ensuring you're depressing that grip safety. Coming up here to the hammer, it is a Rowell style speed hammer, and it is nicely serrated here on the top. Talking about the sights, it's got wonderful sights. It's got a straight 8 night sights, and what I mean by that is the front night sight has got a dot on it that you can see in bright daylight, as well as illuminated in low light or no light. And then you've got a bright dot here on the rear of this serrated face, and that's also outlined in white. But the cool thing is the front is green and the rear is kind of a yellow, so you can actually differentiate the dots by size and color in low light and no light. And basically, to get a good correct sight alignment, you put that front dot on top of the rear dot, which aligns it nicely in this rear notch. So getting a good sight alignment and sight picture is pretty easy, fast acquisition on these straight 8 sights. I'm really digging that setup. The rear sight is also drift adjustable. For windage, you got a little set screw here. You can drift it one way or the other. We've already touched on the serrations here on the top of the slide. Coming down here to the front, new forward cocking serrations, new designed accessory rail integrated into dust cover. The front strap and mainspring housing is nicely checkered at 25 lines per inch. You do have an integrated magazine well. There's a couple things on this gun that I don't care for. However, it being a duty rated pistol, I understand the inclusion. First thing is, I do not like forward and cocking serrations on a 1911. I really don't. I think it just cosmetically, aesthetically, I don't think it's attractive. However, on a duty gun, I get it, because if you do want to do that press check, or you want to keep this pistol close into your workspace and rack that slide, you have the option with these forward cocking serrations. Magazine well. Not a big fan of mag wells in a 1911 either, y'all, I'll be honest with you. And here's why. Now you're running your standard mag, extended base pad like you come with the gun. When you go to slam that mag home, she's good to go. However, if you're running just a flat base, non-extended base pad magazine, when you go to put it in, it doesn't lock. You actually have to take your thumb and seat it. And the deal with that is, because you do have that extended base pad, when you go to slam it home, it is now level with the bottom of that mag well. Will the mag well increase in reloads? Yeah, I think it does. I mean, for me, I'm not Jerry Michlik, I'm not Robbie Latham, I'm not in there burning it down. But when you've got that funnel, it does aid in reloading. It is finished nicely in black with what Dan Wesson is calling their duty finish. It's also available in stainless. And it does have these really nice VZ G10 stocks. And they are, when I say very nice, they are very nice, but they're also very aggressive. And I get it. Duty gun, you could be shooting with gloves on, it could be covered in sweat, or blood, or what have you. And so you want to make sure you've got as best of a possible purchase on this pistol as you can when you're using it. However, a handful of the folks that shot the gun, especially, barehanded, they complained a little bit about how aggressive the stocks were. So I got a set of Illuma grips, swapped them out, and they seem to be a little more comfortable for a lot of folks. Now, y'all, I'm not going to make a big deal about this, because if you don't care for the stocks, hey, it's 4 stock screws, take them out, swap them out, bam, done. Like I said, we got 500 rounds down range, myself, several of my friends, and y'all, I'm going to be straight with you. This is one of the nicest 1911s I've reviewed. Accuracy-wise, we got it out to 25 yards from a rest. 1.5-inch groups, we shot a couple of those. Shot an 1 3/8 group. Accuracy-wise was fantastic. I was really, really thrilled with it. Sight acquisition going from target to target. Now, 500 rounds downrange, I know is not a lot. However, a portion of those 500 rounds that we shot were double tap 450 SMC. So think of it as plus P 45 auto and then a little bit. And they're using a small primer case to add a little bit of strength, this, that, and the other. I did a video with double tap about the 450 SMC. And if you're curious about that, any handgun that you've got that's rated for 45 auto plus P, they say it's safe to shoot the 450 SMC. So I talked a little bit about this pistol having an accessory rail machined into the dust cover, and I think that is an absolute must for a pistol that you're considering for a duty gun. Home defense, self-defense, yeah, absolutely big plus on that. When I added the light, the stream light, it began to get a little dicey, y'all, trying to find a holster to accommodate this pistol with a light mounted on it. But I ran into these cats at SHOT Show, Talon holsters. And I was talking to them about it, and the guy was like, absolutely, we can make something like that. And I'm like, really, are you sure it's going to work out? He's like, email me what you got, what you want, and I'll send you a holster. I was like, all right. I mean, he knows better than I do, right? He's a holster manufacturer. So I was a little skeptical, but when I got back to SHOT, let the dust settle, shot the guy an email, said, hey, I'm running the 2020 Dan Wesson Specialist, Streamlight TLR1 HL light on it. It was probably, I think it was about 2 weeks later, this Talon holster showed up in the mail, and I thought, well, it's very well built. How well is it going to work? And so I stuck the light on the gun, put it in a holster. It retained it well. I actually carried it for about a month every day in this Talon holster, and it did not deter from the concealability, but it did give me a little bit of peace of mind that I was able to carry my pistol with the light mounted on it. And the way that I almost pancaked this holster, it wasn't any more difficult to conceal than using this Bravo concealment or even a leather holster. I couldn't find a leather holster that would accommodate a gun with a light. So if you've got a 1911 with a rail and you're running a light, these guys here, Talon holsters, they did a fantastic job on this holster. Okay, y'all, so I got it all tore down. Other than being kind of nasty, everything looks to be pretty good. Let's get a closer look here. This 5-inch match grade barrel, I'm looking at the radial locking lugs, and all the little edges are nice and crisp and clean. I don't see any chips or cracks. Look in here in the top of the slide where you got the 2 mating lugs, and they're good to go. Incidentally, this pistol does not run a firing pin safety. The receiver, I mean, it's forged. I'm not sweating that at all. One nice touch that I noticed is the stock screws. While they are Allen head, and I do not care for Allen head stock screws, they are running little O-rings on them, and I think that's a wonderful touch. And those little O-rings, whenever you tighten your stocks down, they help apply even compression all the way around the stock screw hole. Just holds in a little more securely. It almost acts like a lock washer, so that's a pretty nice touch for Dan Wesson. The firing pin stop is a reduced radius firing pin stop, and that's going to help mitigate some of that perceived recoil. If you're curious about how a reduced radius firing pin stop helps with perceived recoil, a 1911 tuner, John Travis wrote me a really nice article for rangehot.com on that. I will link to his article in the description below. I'm looking here at the hammer. The hammer hooks are in pretty good shape. The sear and disconnector are still nice and sharp. No discernible wear. Plunger spring, it's not kinked. So whenever you begin to take that ambidextrous safety apart, you better have your hand covering it, or your plunger and spring are going to puke out into the yard or the carpet or what have you. The magazine well is integrated into the mainspring housing. Grip safety, sear spring, recoil spring. The trigger here I see is adjustable for over travel. Magazine catch. The barrel bushing was fit pretty snug. Not so snug that you needed the included wrench, but it was fit pretty snug. And truthfully, the whole gun is very well fit. I think Dan Wesson does a fantastic job on their guns. They are by far one of my favorite 1911 manufacturers, just because of the amount of effort they put in their guns. If you're on a budget and you're trying to save a little money, buy cheap paper towels, buy cheap toilet paper, buy nice guns. And the reason I mention that is, you know, something like this, designed for duty, for carry, for self-defense, home defense, something like this, you really want a premium product, because you want to stack the deck in your favor as much as you can, and you want to eliminate Murphy for Murphy's Law as much as feasible. And buying well-fit, nice guns with good quality small parts, there's no bad side to it other than your budget. I've reviewed a lot of Dan Wesson pistols, y'all, and accuracy-wise, they're all pretty comparable, plenty accurate. Functionality-wise, I don't think I've ever had any issue with any of their guns. But the Specialist, I'm really digging, because I like that it is a dedicated duty-type weapon, and a lot of the features reflect that, like the forward cocking serrations, the mag well, and that sort of stuff. But it's like there was, and I know they put a lot of thought in all their guns, but I feel like there was a tremendous amount of thought process that went into this pistol, and so I can certainly appreciate that. So anyway, y'all, I know I run a little long, and I apologize, but spent a lot of time with this gun, wanted to go through it thoroughly. I really want to thank Double Tap and Defender Ammunition. They sent me the vast majority of the test ammo we used. That really helped. Appreciate that. I want to thank Talon Holsters for sending me this holster that allowed me to conceal carry this gun with a light on it for a little over a month. You know, and always I appreciate Dan Wesson supporting me like they do. And so yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Now, if you enjoyed the video, always remember, there's going to be an article on rangehot.com, which I will link in the comments below. So you can go over there and you can read that article. I'm going to have a lot more of the technical information. I'm going to have an accuracy chart of all the ammunition we shot and the specific groups that they printed at 25 yards from a rest, and that sort of stuff. So if you feel like I left something out, or if I glossed over something, y'all always remember that in my video overview, there's always an article attached to it. If you liked it, hey, subscribe to Range Hot. We're really starting to grow the YouTube channel. I've always kind of focused on rangehot.com because that's where my articles are, and we always embed the videos. But you know, the YouTube thing is actually starting to work a little bit. So subscribe, you know, let me know what you think. We got plenty of room below for comments. You can always find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I use those social media networks as well. So if you don't feel like commenting on the video, you can email me or Facebook me or whatever, and we'll have a discussion about it. If if you something you didn't like, let me know that too. You know, we can, all I'm trying to do is make these videos and articles a little better so people will continue to come back and read them and enjoy them and let me know what they think. So y'all, I'm gonna wrap this up. Y'all take care of yourselves and each other. Be safe. I look forward to seeing you at the range.